Yeah, I can hear you.
Perfect. We are ready whenever you are.
Yeah, I am ready. Can I
Perfect.
can I go ahead and present the screen?
Yes, of course.
Perfect.
Right. Thank you.
Hi, hello everyone. Hope
Hello. Hello. Yes.
hope everything is visible on the screen.
Perfect. Yes, we can see.
Yeah, thank you. Um, on a Friday post lunch, we have a session, and I'm sure most of you must be thinking, is it going to be good or not? I'm sure I would love to make it most of the time and make it better for you. What are we talking today about? It is about artificial general intelligence, which is going to be the future of generative AI and computer vision. Why did I chose this topic was to make sure that all of you would not only look into generative AI but also look into vision AI, which is developing and transforming into something called artificial general intelligence. So, before we talk about it, let me introduce myself. I am Anudeep. I have 9 years of experience in data science and engineering. I have been delivering my guest lectures almost about 8 years, almost about 8 years at different universities, tech fests, and hackathons. So I completed my master's in computer science in University of Massachusetts, worked as researching and teaching assistant, and currently working as a lead data scientist at AT&T. So I am heading few of the projects where we are involved in different generative AI applications currently that are going on. Moving to the topic and agenda. So I have already spoken a little bit about what artificial general intelligence is going to be. When I talk about artificial general intelligence, I would want to talk more about what generative AI and agents play a role in it, what is computer vision, and how these two come together and form building blocks for artificial general intelligence. So, is it something that I am going to only introduce the topic? No, I'm also going to talk about the technologies that you would have to learn on your way as you become a professional in data science. As you may know, data science is not just about machine learning, not just about deep learning. There's much more. There's much more to it, which is ethical considerations and the future implications, which is very important. And finally, I'll leave room for question and answers if you have any further questions apart from what we have discussed. I usually start my sessions by asking the audience if agenda looks good or would they want to discuss something more. So if anyone has any questions in between, feel free to interrupt and ask me. I would be happy to talk about it a little more if you want to. All of us must have watched Iron Man and must be dreaming about having such suit for all of us. And we must have thought one day I would love to wear such kind of a suit and talk to a machine. But will it be possible? Um, Looking at the way the things are going, it can be possible. So let's understand how the industry is talking about this artificial general intelligence. You all know recently Elon Musk had introduced Optimus, a humanoid robot which can help you in your daily tasks. And I'm assuming you must have watched some videos where certain YouTubers have purchased it and have been using in the real life events. So, as you can see on my screen, Elon Musk said that the development of artificial general intelligence could be the biggest event in the human history. It is either going to be best or worst. Why is that? Because it depends on how we use it. We all know how drones are disrupting the defense industries. You can go ahead and watch videos on how robo dogs are being used in the combat field. So it's always about how we use this technology for the best or for the worst. Bill Gates I'm excited about the potential of AI, but we need to be more thoughtful about how we deploy it and develop it. When it comes to OpenAI, the most successful generative AI engine that is currently available for us, Sam Altman said that I believe that AGI is possible and will have a profound impact on the humanity. Sundar Pichai, AI is one of the most important technologies in the humanity has ever worked on and is evolving faster than ever. I would love to take a moment here. As you can see, I started my career 8 years ago, 9 years ago on business intelligence. At that time, taking data, understanding what data is trying to communicate, and transforming it in a way that we get insights is all about business intelligence. And most of the companies have taken a lot of effort to do that and understand their business. After business intelligence, there came in cloud transformations. Our cloud technology has come in and disrupted the industry, and there have been multiple cloud migration projects that I have been part of, and the industry had taken into consideration. After cloud migration, it was all about showing charts. Data analytics have become a major wing in all the IT companies. Moving further, we had data science where we learned about artificial intelligence, where we talk about traditional machine learning algorithms, deep learning, and we also had NLP, natural language processing, where we take in the text data or the documents and try to you know make them into vectors and understand what exactly the data is trying to communicate. So we had all this, and it's the growth of AI was exponential. But today, with the advent of OpenAI and Gemini, the growth in the industry of generative AI is too much and too fast that as I'm speaking, there must be some product that is being launched based on these two APIs. Coming to ethical concerns, which has to be discussed, is about AI is a powerful tool, but it comes with a great responsibility, and we must use it wisely. That's what Microsoft's Satya Nadella says. And we all know about Andrew Ng. We need to be careful about the potential negative consequences of AI, such as job displacement and autonomous weapons, which I already spoke about. So, this is what the whole industry is talking about: artificial general intelligence. So we have seen humanoid robot in action. It is currently available in the market. As we speak, somebody is using it for a daily life events, assisting the humans in certain activities. So artificial general intelligence is not something that is that we can say that it is going to be the future. It's already there, and in the near future, we are going to adapt to such kind of a lifestyle. Now, what exactly is this general intelligence? As you can relate to having a humanoid robot as your assistant, or Javaris as a OS for you to assist in daily tasks as a suit. It is meant to learn, understand, adapt, and reason out your inputs, and is conscious and self aware to what to tell and what not to tell, and make our lives easy. So, that is all about artificial general intelligence. But what are the building blocks of it? Let's get down to the technical part of it. So, as you know, the generative AI had come out from NLP. From NLP, we learned about generative adversarial networks, which are called GANs, where there were certain companies which were using it to develop faces of humans, which does not match to anyone, which they can use in advertisements, billboards, so that they don't have to pay to models. So they are including and investing on technology while spending on models. So this is one of the application of GANs. From there, the generative AI moved on to generating, summarizing, and you know processing human like text. That is our LLM, which is already there, and we are using on in our daily usage. If you open your phone and start Googling, you will see the summarizations from Gemini in the Google integrated into your Google search. We all have been and are using ChatGPT. So generative AI is something that is being very aggressively integrated into different applications that are already available in the industry right now. So what exactly are we doing in generative AI? We are trying to creatively send in a prompt, and the generative AI engine is trying to process that input, utilize it, and respond to it based on the data that it already have. Apart from querying with the data that is available, there's something called agentic tools that are currently being used in the industry. What is an AI agent? So, AI agent is something which takes in your input, analyzes it within itself by using multiple LLMs. So, when I give a complicated input, such as this is my use case, and I want a Python code and an UI code to showcase a proof of concept, for example. So, when we give such a scenario, AI agents, as in multiple LLMs, what they do is to work on this requirement. They break down the prompt input into different prompts and work on each prompt, and eventually there will be one LLM that would be summarizing the entire output and gives it back to the user interface. So one such use case is what I mentioned, wherein I have a proof of concept and I would want to, execute that proof of concept or a project in a Python code with an user interface. Let's look at it in a architecture manner. So I have a chat interface and I give in a prompt. What happens next is this user query goes to one of the LLMs that are there within the agents. So do I need additional data for the answer is what it thinks. And then if it needs, it goes to the data sources and tries to fetch that information, and it goes on to another LLM where it summarizes, rewrites the query. Summarizes and gives the answer to the chat interface. What if there is an additional data that is required from the user? So it might go to another LLM where it tries to answer saying, I already have relevant data, or I need some more information from the user. This gets analyzed and processed, and a query goes back to the user. So this is the cycle that happens within an agentic RAG framework. Um, Look into this as a basic, and let's pan out to artificial general intelligence. So what is happening in artificial general intelligence? You are talking to a humanoid robot in your natural language. It tries to understand what you are saying, processes it, understands whether it can act on the sorry, is someone saying something?
No, go ahead. Can you? Hello.
Yeah.
Yes, it's good now. You go ahead.
Yeah. So it understands from the data that it already had and responds to the user by executing the task or by asking the user what exactly they want. So this is a similar framework that artificial general intelligence would work. Now, okay, now that you understood what are the basic building block of a artificial general intelligence, you might ask me, okay, Anudeep, I'm understanding what you're talking about. Then what are the skills I should acquire? So the skills that you should be acquiring is to what are all the libraries that are available for you to pick it up and utilize in your Python code. So you need to know your Python programming fundamentals. You need to know what libraries are being released on a day-to-day basis for these purposes. Try them using the documentation that these libraries give. For example, LangChain. It started with a lang chain. Now you have lang graph that is currently released, which helps you in building a agentic RAG or agentic framework for that matter. Your Microsoft Azure had released AutoGen Studio, which helps you to interact with the agents directly. You just spin off that library and a user interface comes up and you can start chatting with it. So this is what is happening in the industry in a day-to-day life, and you are bombarded with lots and lots of tools and information, which I'm not going to do right now in the session. But what I'm trying to impart to all of you who are watching this is understand that there are so many tools, but the basic understanding is to make sure that you are having the necessary technology within you to accept those tools and utilize them. Now, to continue the topic about the role of agents in AI, either you have these software agents which I just spoke about, the agentic racks, where you can operate in a digital environment, and we have robotic agents where as I told you with respect to Optimus, you given some input in your through your speech to humanoid robots, and these robotic agents will understand it and interact with the real world. I hope all of you must have learned or heard about reinforcement learning, where reinforcement learning is largely it understands, and if you're so the agents understand the input and take action, but eventually if there's any feedback for that particular input, it learns from it and corrects itself. For example, when you chat with your chat GPT, you would not always get the output that you wanted in mind, so you would tweak your prompt a little bit to get the kind of output you want. The other day I wanted to run a proof of concept at my work, and we had Copilot in the work, and it is all governed by the organization rules. So I was just asking, can you since I'm a backend guy, I don't know much about HTML, CSS. I wanted some UI to show up the backend APIs and how they work. So I have configured a prompt saying, "Can you give me a UI code to show this proof of concept?" It responded saying, "You are trying to access public libraries, which is not allowed." So I just tweaked a prompt. Help. How do I show this in UI? It gave me the entire code. So what I'm trying to convey is it's about prompt engineering at a generative AI level, but when it comes to agentic level, it's about correcting it or rewarding it. It learns from your rewards or penalties that you give. Also, agents behave on goal oriented aspect. We can take example of self-driving cars. We all know Tesla, we all know Cybertrucks, how they work, and I don't have to talk too much about it. Let me draw your attention to vision AI. Few years back, computer vision is all about trying to get images, take RGB matrices from it and process it and understand or categorize them. It has grown too much within the past 2 years that this slide that you are seeing has become irrelevant now. Of course, it does object detection. Of course, that does image segmentation. Now you can do image generation, which is what that adds to the recent developments. Let me talk about Vision AI here. So I worked on a government research project while I was doing my master's, and it was about identifying the fish population within the ocean, especially in the northeast coast. And when it comes to identifying the fish, there are different aspects to it. One is to detect whether it is a fish or not. That's step number one. Step number two is to understand the species, whether it belongs to a class A, class B, class C, which means species A, B, C or not. Once it is categorized, I need to understand the age of it, because I am trying to predict or trying to talk about the population that is there in that area. which means I need to see the length of the fish, whether it is small or big. And my application should be able to detect, no matter how small or big it is, I should be able to classify it. So there are a lot of layers of computer vision to that project. And honestly, I was not able to do it in my first year of research because there were so many limitations. Then came a tool called um, uh, RoboVision or something, where it had made the process very easy. And then YOLO V8 had come into play, and there was no looking back. I was able to execute this project very easily just in Google Notebooks. I mean, Kaggle Notebook now is integrated with Gemini. I can use that, or Google Notebooks. There, I have executed and finished my research. So you can see how in very little span your computation power, your generation power, or your thinking power of these machines is increasing. So eventually, coming down to what technologies are contributing to artificial general intelligence, it's about your generative AI, which is not limited to text. Look at it in a vision perspective as well. Your generative AI is able to understand the images and give a response to it. Your agents, which involves multiple LLMs, is able to think through, is able to also, there's a feature called group chat now, where it is automatically communicating between the LLMs and trying to come up with a solution. So when you extrapolate this to a bigger purpose or a bigger goal, it will eventually work, and it will serve the purpose for artificial general intelligence. And computer vision, as I told you, it is the eyes of this humanoid robot. Whether you give videos or images or whatever format of data that you give to this computer vision engine, it is able to process much faster. It is able to understand everything very fast and is able to respond to what we are giving. um, so coming back to the research project that I worked on as an example, uh, that's when Meta released SAM. So I used Meta SAM to give a prompt to my application, and it was able to identify the fish in the video that was given to me as an input. So that fast is the entire ecosystem of AI is growing as we speak, which means your artificial general intelligence is going to be a reality very, very soon. So, coming back to the path of AGI, you need to understand the integration of these technologies. You can't look at generative AI and computer vision as two different entities within the AI umbrella. Now, they both are going to combine and form something called artificial general intelligence, which is going to be the reality very soon. This is all nice to talk, this is all nice to imagine, this is all nice to implement, but there comes the ethical considerations. As the technology progresses, as you can see the history, every time there is technology, there's always this question of ethical consideration. You all know why Nobel Prizes were invented, right? Why they were set up to make sure that the physics and the chemistry, the developments in physics and chemistry are being used for the good. Likewise, how atom bombs have come up. So it is always important for us who are in this industry to think about the ethical part also. Let me tell you, it's not just about AGI or AI. Let me give you one simple example of NLP. When I was having around 3 years of experience into data science in the initial days of machine learning, I was interviewing with a company, with a very small company. What they do is to serve the clients where the social media comments are to be deleted if they are negative review. So ethically, is this correct? It is up to us who will be working on that to decide, right? So when you are trying to delete abusive comments is a different story versus trying to delete negative comments is a different story. I hope you're getting the difference there. So these are the small thoughts that we need to integrate into our development procedures while we work on certain projects. Also, you also need to understand that your data science as a subject is interdisciplinary. You need to understand different parts of the applications to make sure that your knowledge and wisdom are being used for a good purpose. For example, when you work for a company, you don't really work for data. As in, first of all, you should understand the data as an information and then try to and then attempt to break it down into pieces and feed it to the AI engine, right? So your interdisciplinary collaboration is very important. You need to understand that AI will always be a small engine within a bigger machine. So how the whole machinery works is very important for all of us. So, with that, I would love to conclude this about artificial general intelligence. I want you all to learn not just generative AI, I want you to focus also on computer vision. There are so many jobs that are being posted on generative AI and computer vision, and there's a lot of scope for you to take up these advancements in the industry and work through your career. It's a very long pathway, but it is not very far off. That's what I would love to tell you all. Coming to your focus of where you should be focusing to learn about all these is to start with simple mathematics. That is the basic building block. You should know Python programming basics. You should know how a Python program works, how a software application works, or how the entire cloud works. All these you need to know as a data scientist. You need to know big data, you need to know data engineering, you need to know business analysis, you need to know uh, moral sciences. That was an optional subject for all of us in the in the primary school, but now it is very crucial. And the future is in our hands as data scientists to make sure that we develop is causing and assisting good and not something bad. So with that, I leave out some time for the questions. Does anyone have any questions?
Yes. All right. We have our first question.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Anudeep, for sharing a lot about AGI. I'm interested to know how would AT&T implement AGI into their services, and what would necessarily be the use case in the company?
So currently, not just AT&T, all the companies are looking into dump all of their data into one system and be able to query it. That is what is the first step that is that is happening in every company, not just AT&T. So when it comes to AT&T, it is a networking company. When I say networking company, it means it has many APIs that are related to network, where we have customer data. For example, if you want to port out from your current current network provider to AT&T, so there's a certain APIs that are involved to make your transition easy. So those APIs we take in and put it into our database, and we let the internal users and other customers to query on that to understand which API they should be using for which use case. So this is one of the interesting ones that I am leading. Likewise, so this is first step. Next, we are planning to implement agentic framework, which was parallelly happening. And as I told you, agents, it's all about letting the LLMs work on a complex problem and get back to us. For example, I wanted to check whether a particular number is available in this service area. For example, let's say in your area, do I have your phone number active or not for you to give allocate that phone number to you? So this is a little complicated task because you have sequence of APIs to be executed. For example, I need to first inquire what are all the numbers that are available in your service area. Once I get that, I need to check which number is unallocated, and then I need to allocate that unallocated number to you. So that's how the use cases work. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, one more question. You
Mm-hmm.
said like a lot of companies are dumping their data together.
Mm-hmm.
In this process, this might be the place where a lot of data from the users are being shared with other companies. And how is this ethical concern being approached by AT&T? Like, would user get a consent forms, or what are the things
Yeah.
that users should know when their data is being shared?
So as a developer, I wouldn't know who is who, or I wouldn't have access to any customer data. So there'll be a chief security office which would be overseeing all the generative AI related projects very closely, because as you said, here is where there might be a leakage of data because this is all something new, and things might go out of the company. So here is where CSO uh, directly checks the access very regularly and directly filters everything that is coming from OpenAI. For example, let me say, if I am using OpenAI, there will be a filter that lies between OpenAI versus me as an employee in AT&T, wherein I won't be able to transfer the information to OpenAI versus I won't be able to get any public data from OpenAI. You understood, right? There'll be filters. To give a example, in NLP we have something called stop words, right? What does stop words do? It particularly stops certain words to get into the analysis part. Likewise, we have checks and filters in every stage of uh, the projects that are involving data. So I personally, if you ask me, I have never seen any user data. I only see numbers. That's all. Some number which is also not active, basically.
Thank you, Mr. Anudeep. That was convincing.
Yeah. So, any further questions from anyone?
We have more questions.
Yeah.
Like for the current architecture, do you
Mhm.
think simply scaling up the parameter size can reach us to the AGI, or we need some architecture change?
Simply raising the number of parameters would not solve the problem because, as you see, again, the computation concerns come in. You know, right? There's a lot of. Thanks for asking the question, first of all. I didn't touch upon this point. So, as we increase the number of parameters, what happens is that the water consumption for maintaining the Gen AI engines increases, and that is not what we are looking at, right? See, we need something that is optimal, not we don't want something that consumes all the natural resources and eventually gives us the efficiency. So this is where we break in these tasks into multiple LLMs. For example, let me say, this is just my guess, not like some architecture that I know of. For example, I have an OpenAI, Gemini AI, and Meta's AI, Llama, right? So I might want to add all three of them and let them communicate to each other to give me a solution that will give me maybe more flexibility in getting the answer. So I would first try out in that way rather than going for increasing the number of parameters. As we increase the number of parameters, our computational power versus the cost increases, and that's why we don't generally go for such easy solution immediately. But if you're asking in terms of AGI, does it need more computation? Definitely, it needs more computation, and we should wait and look at what would be the next support from the computational industry that provides us, for example, NVIDIA chips or whatever. We should be having a better support from the computational industry to go to AGI fast.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem.
I think we have one last question.
Yeah.
How was your early career as a researcher and teaching assistant? And how does it differ now that you are a data scientist?
Mhm. So, as a researcher, I had flexibility to try out different things. Often, I used to lose focus on the computer vision project that I was working and jump into, oh my god, there's a lot happening on Gen AI. Let me look into what's happening there. So I used to have that FOMO, fear of missing out on things. But eventually, as I told you, slowly they both got merged into one lane, and I was able to utilize both the technologies to kind of create a small application. Versus me working as a data scientist, it is more about picking these new trends in the technology. So as you know, in the industry we are more prone to utilize those technologies which are more mature and proven. To give you an example, so Microsoft had released AutoGen, versus when you go to Google, you don't have a comparable tool in Google that can match the UI of AutoGen, right? Um, so I would go and choose AutoGen because it sits and integrates well with the other applications that I already have in the Microsoft ecosystem. So your flexibility when it comes to choosing tools and when it comes to thinking gets limited and more focused when it comes to your data science job. And while teaching, I used to teach artificial intelligence, data science, and advanced data mining to master students when I was master student myself. So at that time, I have seen students simply going to Chat GPT and uh, giving the solutions. That's when I asked Chat GPT, how do I, make sure that students are not, misusing Chat GPT and giving answers, because it makes no sense for me to sit and evaluate all the assignments that comes from Chat GPT, right? Obviously everything is going to be very good. That's when Chat GPT gave me an idea saying, you should ask for the intuition of the questions that you ask. The moment I asked that, almost 99% of the uh, attendees failed answering that, and eventually, I had to tell them it is important to give the intuition, and that's how my teaching assistantship went. Yeah.
All right, sounds good. Do you have any more questions? I think that's all from us. All right, Mr. Vadina, thank you so much for presenting us today. We learned a lot.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you so much for having me. Hope I was able to give some idea about AGI, generative AI, and vision AI. I wish all the best to all the attendees.
Yep, we did. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Bye.